Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and I want to talk to you today about a technique called stomach pulling. In Ayurveda, there's a process called udvarta, which means upward moving vata. When you're under a lot of stress, there's one vata or energy which goes down to help reproduce and eliminate, and another one that goes up to support energy and vitality and clarity. When you're overwhelmed with stress, the vata that goes down starts to go north and it brings more stress. We call that in Western medicine kind of adrenal overdrive, putting the body under excessive stress. Well, from the Ayurvedic perspective, what happens is it creates sort of an upward moving effect of vata. And the stomach can actually begin to also push up onto the underside of the diaphragmatic wall. This causes things like heartburn and indigestion. And what happens is this goes on for a very, very long time. People get what's called a hiatal hernia, where the stomach actually gets stuck up against the diaphragm with such pressure that it actually herniates through the lower esophageal sphincter and causes all types of gastric issues and heartburn and things like that. But many years prior to the hiatal hernia effect, you have this sort of upward moving pressure of the stomach up against the bottom side of the diaphragm. And it can cause the stomach to sort of adhere to the diaphragmatic wall. And it can compromise the diaphragm's ability to breathe and help you breathe deeply. It can affect the ability for the stomach to actually digest efficiently. Literally, the stomach is like stuck to the diaphragmatic wall, so it can't really contract and get rid of the acid. The acid stays and lingers in the stomach way too long and causes a host of digestive problems. And your body's only choice when this happens, when the stomach's sort of stuck to this wall, says, you know what, guys, I don't know what's going on, but I can't make the acid because I can't get rid of it because I'm stuck to this wall, so I'm going to turn down my digestive fire. And people who have issues with digesting hard to digest foods like wheat and dairy or even fried food, none of which we need to eat, but those are hard to digest foods that sort of test the integrity and strength of your digestion. And if you can't digest those foods, in particular if you were able to do it when you're 18 or 10, 15 years ago, but now all of a sudden you can't, you may have what I call this upward moving vata, which is extremely common in our stressful world, that causes upward pressure on the underside of the diaphragm where the stomach starts to adhere and causes indigestion and the inability for the stomach to function well. A similar thing happens on the right side where your liver and gallbladder are, and that can also be, kind of pulled down. And the technique I want to share with you today is a stomach pulling technique where we get in there and break up all the scar tissue. And I've used this technique for many, many years, mostly for people with hiatal hernias and then with severe heartburn issues, things like that. And what I'm finding now is that so many people, perhaps because of emotional stress, they have a tendency to hold on to so much stress right underneath the rib cage. And if they poke in there, and I want you to sort of do that, take your thumb and back it up with the other hand and sort of use it as a poker to poke right in underneath your rib cage and just work your way all along the rib cage underneath where the stomach is. And if you feel any soreness or any tension in there, then you may have some adhesions that are compromising your digestive strength. You can take your right hand and work your way on the other side. So that's really the technique, is to first diagnose it yourself and say, do I have any tenderness anywhere along in here? And you got to press pretty good. It should be like a juicy baby's belly when you poke in there, not sort of this rigid band of adhesions or hardness. So we want to get rid of that. So how do we do that? I also have done a video where I show you the lying down technique. It's in part 2 of my heartburn series videos. But this is the sit down technique, which is, I think, even a little bit better because you can do it at the office, you can do it in your car, you can really do it anywhere. So I am in a chair where I'm actually sort of in a little bit of a rocker here. I can actually move, which is kind of nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thumb, this thumb, I'm going to take my other hand and back it up and poke it right into the underside of my rib cage, okay? I'm going to take my other thumb and put it on top. Remember, I'm trying to pull my stomach back down to pull the stomach off the diaphragmatic wall. So the stomach has kind of gotten up, and I'm going to try to pull it down, okay? So when I breathe in, my rib cage is going to go up. up. So I'm going to pull it down as I breathe in. I'm also going to arch my back as I breathe in. That'll create even more upward, moving pressure with my rib cage and my diaphragm while I use my fingers to pull down. So a very simple technique. Take your finger, back it up like this, and poke it in there with my thumb behind it like that, so I can push down. So I lean forward in my chair a little bit. Make sure your back is against the chair, because if you're using your tummy muscles to hold you up, then you're actually working through your abdominal wall muscles, and you're not going to push very hard. Those are strong muscles. So you want your belly to be kind of relaxed, so your back is against the chair. And just sort of slouch forward, the tummy will relax. And as I breathe in, I'm going to arch myself back, pushing in this downward direction. Breathing in and pulling down as I arch back. Come forward, let all the air out. Go in there and try to find a little more sore area. Push down, breathe in and arch myself back in my chair. Come forward again, stick my fingers in there, push down in that direction, and breathe in as I arch myself back. And you keep doing that for about 2 minutes, twice a day, until all that soreness is gone. Switch sides, take your right thumb, back it up like this with your other thumb to back it up. Stick it in there, push down, arch yourself back, and breathe in. And then breathe out. When you breathe out, your tummy sort of relaxes. Stick it in there, breathe back in again, pull it back. And you're going to find some soreness under there, and if you do, it's great, because you're going to break it up. You're going to increase your bile flow. You're going to increase your liver gallbladder function. You're going to free your stomach from being stuck to the diaphragmatic wall, so your diaphragm can breathe again. Your stomach can hang and digest and produce acid and contract that acid out of the stomach in a very efficient manner. This technique, I got to tell you, is one of the most important techniques I can teach you for helping you to reset your digestion. We have so many articles in our digestive reset, health topic category. Read tons of articles about it. And there's herbs that work phenomenally well. You try those, get your body to digest gluten and dairy again herbs that we talk about, on top of mechanically breaking up the adhesions along the diaphragm and free up that stomach to do its job. Powerful things can happen with regard to rebooting your digestive strength. Super simple technique. And yeah, in the beginning, it's a little sore and tender, so don't hurt yourself. Just stick with it every day, twice a day, until that soreness dissipates, and you're going to be fine. So it's a very, very simple technique. Twice a day, you can do it for a couple of minutes and watch that soreness dissipate. And I wrote a pretty comprehensive article about the mechanics of this kind of upward moving vata, so you understand all the reasons why that could happen, and maybe it's happening to you. So please check out that article associated with this video at LifeSpa.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LifeSpa.com.